I'm related to a famous captain. And I think I mentioned this before. I don't know if I did. I swear to God. Welcome to...
Us.
Us. That's it. That's all you get. All right, cut. Our ancestry results, as in, I guess, who we're related to, and
yeah,
what your
and our
family
family
tree-
tree is and all that
Okay.
stuff. The video that we did a while ago, actually, a lot of people in the comment section had quite a few questions about us.
Yeah.
And was wondering why some of us didn't know what we were, as much as we were, of something. So we figured we'd sort of sit down and I guess explain why we knew as much as we did and that sort of stuff, and some things we came across after talking to some family members. And
how did you not know you were part alien? Like, come on. But you keep pushing me over. You're like, Layden, man. Yeah, apparently no one knows in my family where this Native American side came from, or like the South American part. Someone must have lied in the family. I don't know what happened.
Well, I guess maybe you should put it this way, that a lot of his family members and grandparents, I guess, never really were entirely interested in what they were in. And I know it's kind of like a recent thing where everybody's sort of everyone sort of wants to know who their ancestors are and what they're made up of and all that kind of stuff. There's more questions now. I guess I'm kind of crooked. There's more questions now than I guess there was back then. So, like, your grandparents, like your grandmothers and stuff, never really kept track or maybe asked questions about entirely what they
my great-grandmother was Scottish, like pure Scotland.
No, I know that.
Like my mom's grandmother was Scottish, so we obviously knew she was Scottish. But your nan... But on my dad's side, we have no idea what they are.
Yes. Hence, no one, I guess in a sense, kept track. And then with this whole thing with Ellis Island and everything else, I think
immigration and all that stuff.
Yeah, and when names getting changed and all, I think that does have a huge factor in
America's
all
this. Messed up. We're mutts.
Basically, yeah.
Not all of us, but majority of us on the East Coast are mutts because we were just scattered from everywhere.
And I think, well, especially in New Jersey, there's like a huge percentage of people who are Italian. So I guess a lot of people just assumed that they were. Yeah,
which
like
I thought I was Italian a lot, but I'm on 1%. I can't eat pasta and bread.
I can't even believe I was as much percentage as I was French. I mean, my dad had mentioned to us that we were like possibly French Canadian. Little did I know that was actually part true, but I didn't know I was that largely a percentage of it. To me, it was mostly like the Danish and Dutch side of it because one of my ancestors came from Copenhagen, and then my dad always had told us that we were a majority German.
Yeah. Because,
well, I just sort of assumed with my last name. And then little did I know that when I went to German class, everyone, was sort of asking what their last name was. And, like, one girl's last name was, like, white in German. And, like, somebody else's meant something else. And I was like, oh, well, what's mine? And they're like,
it's not.
Well, it doesn't necessarily come out to be, like, something in German. So it's either somebody messed up and misspelled my name.
Yeah,
or they just changed it completely because they didn't feel like.
Well, a lot of names were truncated, too.
Yeah.
That's true. Going back to the ancestry part of it, it shows who you're related to. Well, allegedly shows who you're related to, and like other users and stuff, and DNA matches. Apparently, I have a first. I think it's a second cousin because the person's a lot older than my mom, and I think it's my mom's aunt. I think it's my great aunt or something.
No, but I'm saying, I'm first cousins who are the same age as my parents, but they're still my first cousins.
Yeah, but I'm talking about age doesn't really matter. Mom didn't have. I'm saying my grandmother didn't have a kid that was her age. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's apparently I have a cousin that's in Great Britain. Like 100% has been moved. Their whole family's in Great Britain. At least that's what it shows from what she's able to share on Ancestry.com. So it shows the DNA. I tried to messenger the person. She hasn't been on since April or something like that. So I don't blame, and especially if the person wants to contact me.
Yeah.
But what happened was, guys, I'm related to a famous captain, and I think I mentioned this before. I don't know if I did. I swear to God, his ancestries popped up in my ancestry. Can you guess down below who it is?
What do you mean?
Captain Kidd.
No, that's not
Captain
what I was
Kidd.
getting at. His ancestry popped up in your ancestry.
Well, everything like
Doesn't
his
make-
kids popped up in my ancestry.
in your tree.
In my tree, and I can't get up to him. The furthest I got up to was the 1800s, like that 1819. I just pulled it up. I was actually through the lady who lives in Great Britain. Her Captain Kidd side of the family tree matched with my Captain Kidd side, and I found out that she possibly could be a sister to my grandfather on my mother's side.
Because of the last name is the same, right?
The last name's exactly the same,
Yeah.
and they have the same fathers, and they have the same grandparents, and then it's split off from there. And it's
crazy.
weird. Very, very weird that it happened like that.
Are you finished
So-
with yours? Is it my turn now?
Yeah,
Can I
sure,
share?
sure.
Is my time to share?
You don't have many fun famous
Stop! Yes, I
names.
do. My family is awesome. I don't know so much about my dad's side of the family. No one ever really ventured into filling out a family tree, and it's mostly just like what I've heard from my dad about my grandparents and that sort of stuff. But as far as my mom's side of the tree, my mom's older sister actually has been very active on Ancestry.com and has filled in most of our tree and has a lot of information about where people have settled and that kind of stuff.
I'm just changing.
Oh,
spots.
okay,
You're very
thanks.
close to me.
You didn't like me close to you?
My eyes are crossing. It's
Get used to it.
How close you are.
So a lot of the stuff that I had seen in my DNA stuff, I don't know how else to word that. I basically just went to her and asked a lot of questions, and of course she had a huge folder of stuff that she's printed out, stuff of my my grandfather, my poppy, from like when he was in the war, how he was on like a ship, and him being a part of like other things. And then because my grandparents are so much older, so my mom is, let me explain it this way. My family tree, I guess, is so big because like my grandparents on my mom's side of the family, so my mom's mother and father, alright, so my mom's father was born 1918 and my mom's mother was born 1923, whereas for most people our age, that's their great-grandparents. But for me, like that time period,
That's my grandmother was born at the time.
So your
family tree is very horizontally big, whereas mine is very linear.
So,
well, then everyone else's makes no sense. Yours is more horizontal, what I'm about to say.
And what also sort of made it different was obviously my grandparents were very young, having my mom's brothers and sisters. But there was also a huge gap. So, like, they had 3 kids, and it was like a bunch of time went by and they stopped, and then they almost had like another family. They had like, you know, my mom's second older brother, and then my mom was born. She was the youngest out of 5, and my nana was like 40 having her. So by the time my mom was like 5, her older sister, my aunt, who has filled out the tree, was already like married and like was gonna have like and had kids shortly after. So that's why I have first cousins the same age as me. So all my mom's like nieces and nephews.
Second cousins.
No.
First cousins would be someone like your Aunt Karen. She's your first cousin.
Yes, because she is.
You said same age as you. So you get first cousin.
No, the same age as my mom.
No, you said same age as you.
I meant my mom.
Okay, you got something.
No, actually, you know what? I want to check that because I'm pretty sure I
Rewind!
said my mom. First cousins the same age as me. Anyway, so basically, that's why my mom has nieces and nephews the same age as her, because of just the way the ages of everybody worked out. So a lot of my first cousins I refer to as my aunts and uncles just because they're so much older than me and all that stuff. So anyway, there's a lot of history
that's actually kept in orally, and
there's a lot of history that we know because my family is
older in a
so
generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my mom's older sister.
All they have to remember is 100 years.
Yeah, knows a lot about the parents
1800s,
because she was so much older, where my mom missed out on a lot of that, obviously, because she was like younger. So fortunate enough, they were good at keeping the history, good at keeping like pictures and stuff. Like I went to my aunt's house not that long ago. I sat down with her and I showed her my DNA tree and all that stuff, and it was cool. And like she brought out all the paperwork and was just showing me things. We have a picture of a tombstone of like one of my like 3rd great grandfather or something like that, somewhere in like Kentucky or something like that, like a place that way.
Okay.
Which was cool. Like it showed the time period that he lived.
That's the microphone kicking.
I have to move when I talk. Ow.
You just cracked
Did
your
you
thumb?
hear that? No, that was my ring that hit my nail.
Ow.
That hurt. Bruise! Yeah, so anyway, and then the cool thing that I was showed, which I didn't even know that my aunt had. Now, my puppy, so my mom's father, was one of 13 kids. So I got to see a photo.
For everybody that knows where the hell you're
oh my
at
god,
in the tree.
it's so huge. It is so crazy. So my puppy was one of 13 kids, but he was the youngest. So so my family even goes further than that. People who were born like 1800s and farther than that I don't even know all of their names of. And unfortunately, my mom's siblings don't even know. Yeah, don't even know all the names of them. Yeah, like, because they only got to experience just a couple of them who were alive.
Mine was very short.
Yeah. So I got to see a photo that's like over 100 years old that my aunt had. Like a big family photo that was taken. We don't know everybody that's in it, but we know my puppy's parents, and we can see him and all of his siblings just like sitting in front of it. And it's just like huge. Absolutely huge. It's amazing. I got to see a picture of my Nana. It looked like she was in a play when she was like a teenager, all dressed up. Just the style and everything. It's just so... It's really, really cool.
Which is also cool in Ancestry is that you can actually upload photos to this stuff. Like, for instance, some of her ancestries popped up. Pictures that they may have had. There's one picture they actually had that was on the actual... Like, it may show the person or, like, their grave or something like that. It's attached to the person that you attached on your family tree's profile, in a sense. You don't make a profile for them, but they're associated with records. So, like, you can find, like, for instance, you can probably... I think I was able to find some of her great-grandparents or something like that, like their birth or baptism records in the actual... someone took a picture and posted it to that. So they're related to that person as well.
Yeah.
Whereas some of my ancestries, like, once it got into the 1800s, like the 1890s was the farthest I was able to get with the Captain Kidd area, it just started showing family crest because there was pictures back then were like so hard to keep, I guess. So they're just showing family crest or like drawings or something like that. So I'll post it up on the side of how far I got.
Yeah, whereas mine obviously goes a lot further. Like mine
yours
just continues.
Goes this way. Mine goes linear, like very like narrow and skinny. Yours is like bam. Yours went out that way. Yeah, because
there's so many people. So
and it's hard to keep track because you just got to keep connecting them all these different types of people.
But I like this, and it was cool that I got to experience this because once my mom's older siblings to me almost have become grandparent-like in a way because I lost my grandparents when I was quite younger. So like to me, they're the ones that I like go to for almost that answers, kind of for answers like that. And like it's nice that she has a folder of all that information because once they're gone, that's
passed on to you.
Yeah, and we're the only ones that know that information. We even have what's that called? That
projector?
Yeah. So my uncle has a projector that has film on it. Like the film reel, like one of those really old.
My old projector.
Yes, that's of my family from when they were younger. Yeah. Like, it's.
Be careful with those though.
I know what's crazy, and he has it somewhere. So that would be so cool to like view that kind of stuff. I don't know, just all that history. It's very, very interesting. But it's sad that like if you don't keep up on it, it just like disappears.
That's why we have records now. Computers are kind of good now. You can keep everything on data and keep everything. Like I was just on my phone. Looking at my family tree, looking at like all the like I said, 1800s to now. It's crazy that the accessibility to go back in time, essentially.
Yeah. You know? And what I think is crazy that I think I was on vacation somewhere one time. We were visiting some like museum about war or whatever, and you look to a wall and people could write down people who they knew from the Civil War era. I can't even imagine knowing for sure a connection through your ancestry line back to the Civil War.
That was at Lake George.
Yeah, I was with you.
Fort Henry? What is it called? We were just looking at the pictures. Henry. Yeah, we were just looking at the pictures yesterday. Or 2 days ago. Yeah. You can look. You can write down.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's Fort Henry.
Fort Henry?
Yeah.
Fort McHenry?
No. Maybe it's McHenry. No, it's not. I don't know. Something like that. Don't quote us on it.
I don't know. It's got that mini ha-ha steamboat in the lake, and it goes boop, 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 boop.
Oh,
that
my
one.
God. But anyway, yeah, it's just crazy how people... Because I didn't even know back then. I mean, my family history, as far as I know, for sure, just goes back to World War II. I mean, I'm sure it probably goes back further, but unfortunately, that side of the family was sort of lost in a sense because of just...
Yeah, the furthest I ever got was my mom's side, where she knew where her grandmother lived. She had the address. When we went to Scotland, we drove past to where she lived, which was pretty cool. Yeah. I didn't get to see the house, but she grew up in, if it's still there. What that would have been cool to see that as far as I went to, which would be early 1900s. That's it. Like seeing something. But otherwise, Ancestry just like I apparently have a lot of a lot of ancestors over in Great Britain area, and they have people that are still alive that are a part of that tree. So somehow my family got split. My grandfather and his sisters and siblings or whatever. Maybe he left. I don't know. I don't talk to him as much, so I have no idea.
Well, and that's another thing, too. So, in his family situation, because, like, you don't really talk to your grandfather. All of that sort of lost, too, because that's part of your mom's history. So, there could be even stuff with him that could connect you to other things that you don't know. Yeah,
apparently he's, like, connected very well. It's not even the fact, like, it's, Mary Mulder branched off the Captain Kidd. She's the one who's allegedly was, related to Captain Kidd because her great-great-grandmother or whatever was Captain Kidd, William Captain Kidd Jr., I guess you can call him, but really it was a female because it's a long story. Look it up. I'll link it right here. Yeah. It's a whole, like, the grandmother of the father. It's you read it. It's kind of, we'll be here forever if I explain the whole thing. But she's related to Captain Kidd because that's like her great grandchild. And then like my grandfather's side from my mom branched off in like Great England, like that whole England era because he's all Edwards, and it's like bam, it blew off. Yeah. And Edwards is such a common name, so it's hard to lose. You can lose it very easily, but that blew up to like really far into England area.
Oh, but one of the cool things I did get to see is my aunt got a copy of the marriage certificate of my grandparents. That was really cool to see the date that they got married and how her parents like signed off for it and everything. Because she was only 17 getting married.
It was normal back then, but yeah.
Well, she also had to.
Yeah.
For
pregnancy reasons.
Yes.
Yeah. Happened a lot.
It's okay. I mean, they lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, Shay, is that we keep track of this stuff, and then...
Our non-babies that we would never have, we'll never know.
No, we'll be able to tell them all that
Family
stuff.
tree ends here. We chop it with the axe.
No.
Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you liked our rambling, almost 20 minutes worth of video.
Well, but I just hope we provided you, I guess, a little bit more of an explanation. Like, I was obviously able to tell you right off the bat a little bit more of what I was expecting to hear about. Whereas, like, mine was more accurate because we actually accurately kept records. Whereas, like, for you...
Mine was oral. Mine was, like, oral tradition. Mine was, like, oral traditions, what I was saying, is the fact that my mom knew that she was related to Captain Kidd because of her grandfather. Well, I hope you liked the video.
Oh my god.
Like and comment and whatever you want to do. So,
yeah, but anyway, I just hope we explained things a little bit more for people who had a bunch of questions on why I guess we were surprised by certain things. Me, not so much. You, completely. I thought you were one person and now you're another, so I think I need to possibly return you and pick somebody else.
Why? Because my ancestry's all best. It's all like completely across the globe.
Yeah.
I'm too diverse, man. It means I'm awesome. Goodbye.
What?
Oh, real quick. Captain Kidd's treasure chest right there, obviously. I mean, how can I... I'm obviously related to Captain Kidd. He's got his treasure chest right there. I found it. I am a bazillion dollars rich. I made up my own money, and I found the treasure that he said that he hid, and no one ever found it because he probably was lying.
You want to know the truth?